Good morning.
Good morning.
At the same time, good afternoon or evening, because I don't know when our viewers will be watching us. My name is Konrad Wirkowski. I'm the programming director of Watchdogs Human Rights in Film Festival. And I have a pleasure of hosting today the talk with Mr. Benoit Bringer, the director of the film, The Caviar Connection, that we are screening at our festival. And I must say it's really a great pleasure to talk to Benoit, because the film is, for me, it's one of the most interesting films at our festival. Okay, so let's start. I mean, it's hard to ask, not to ask. Why did you have chosen Azerbaijan? I mean, how did it started at all? Have you any connection to Azerbaijan, or how did you how the idea came to your mind?
Yeah, actually, the idea came from my producer, Laurent Richard, who is working with Forbidden Films, which produced the documentary. We did an investigation. I was the editor-in-chief of an investigative program like 5 years or 7 years ago. And Laurent Richard was a director of one of our program show. And we investigated how our president, his name was François Hollande, he was the president at that time in France, did business with bad countries. When I say bad countries, I'm not talking about the people of the countries, but the regime, of course. And especially with those kind of, former USSR countries, which are not very well known, and there is not a lot of focus on those countries, like, of course, Azerbaijan or Turkmenistan or Kazakhstan, but which are around the Caspian Sea. And in the Caspian Sea, there is the caviar, but there are also a lot of oils, gas, and it's wealth for this country. But unfortunately, we discovered at that time that that wealth was used for the benefit of the people in power and not for the citizen, and that our European countries were using, were benefiting also from this wealth without thinking about human rights, without thinking about the people who are suffering in those countries. So we did this first investigation, and it was only small parts. And after that, there was a lot of development, and it was a big scandal in the Council of Europe, which is a very important, as you know it, body for human rights in Europe in the larger sense. So for us, it was, we have to do it. We have to do a big documentary, two parts documentary to shed the lights on this subject, because it's not talking only about the situation of human rights on those countries. It's talking about our values, European values, and how we deal with those values when business is at stake.
Yeah. You didn't mention the name Panama Papers.
Yeah.
But to our viewers, I mean, we can say to those who don't know that you were the part of the Panama Papers, and you got also the prize. And so I suppose this was it, yeah. The investigation was part of.
I mean, I worked on the Panama Papers as a journalist, but it was a consortium of investigative journalists all around the world, and I'm mostly focused on the case in France at that time. But there was also parts regarding Azerbaijan. And so, of course, I knew that there was some ties between the offshore world and the ruling family in Azerbaijan. So, of course, it was also part of the reflection when we thought we had to do a documentary especially on this issue of caviar diplomacy.
And I would like to ask about the protagonists of your film, because I have this feeling that on one hand, how do you feel about it? That is it like filming them and showing their story puts them in danger, or more somehow saves them, and because they are now the attention of the world is more or less focused on them?
Definitely. I think that the more you shed light on those people, and I'm not talking only about Azerbaijan, but of course in Philippines or Russia or other country where the journalists or defender of human rights are in danger, it works like a shield for us. It's not always enough, maybe, but still it's better. If you are on the lights, it's more difficult to attack you. If you have organization, if you have a journalist behind you around the world, and your name is famous and you are well-known investigative journalist or human rights activist, I think it helps to protect you. But still, I would like to have this kind of character-driven documentary, because they are the one on the field, either in exile or in those countries, who are taking the risk, and they are dedicating their life for this fight for freedom, for human rights. And I'm very, very. I mean, I would like to pay kind of tribute for their work, and it was definitely a way also to engage the audience, I think, because of course not everybody is aware of what happened in Azerbaijan, and they can think that, okay, it's a small country, it's far away from us. But when you show the life of those ordinary citizens who are fighting for freedom, I think it's a way to engage people and to follow them, because their stories are just amazing. You know, I always say that reality is much more incredible than fiction, and I think the story of those citizens is definitely an illustration of that.
Yeah, I mean, the story of Kadia is like really is so incredible, and the person that emerges from, for example, your film is like really so strong character, and I mean, but never mind. I mean, that's for the viewers to watch. But I would like also to ask if how their story developed. I mean, is there anything, has anything happened in their life since you finished the film?
Well, I mean, the film is still screening in festival, of course, but also in TV. It has been broadcasted in Sweden 1 week ago, and it will be in Norway also, in Canada also. It has been screening in Belgium, in Switzerland, in France, in Germany, and we hope other countries in the future. So I think definitely it helps to shed light and to uncover this matter. So it helps the activist, the human rights defender like Emin Yusenov, which is in the second part of the documentary. And he told me that he was in Oslo. He was in Stockholm talking with diplomats and politicians to try to make the situation evolve regarding the relation with Azerbaijan, and the people were talking with him about the movies. So it's a way to put again, to put the story in the light and to help them to fight when they are advocating for human rights in their country. Regarding Chadidża Ismaiłowa, which is one of the main characters, an incredible investigative journalist, she decided that she has to stay in the country, no matter what it means for her. And so there was an investigative development after this documentary. There was the Pegasus project. I don't know if you heard about that, but it was Pegasus is the spyware which attacks phones and can spy everything you do on your phone. And we heard that, we knew after that Chadidża was spied during the documentary, during the time we made it. I don't know if there is any connection. I think she's a target for the government, and they want to know what she does. And so after that, she was part of this project, and she helps to discover which kind of other people in the country have been spied with the Pegasus by the Azerbaijani regime. And still, she decided to stay in the country. She flew to Turkey because her travel ban. She was under a travel ban, but it have been left. And she flew to Turkey for health care because she has a health issue. But she decided she has to come back to the country to fight from the inside. So yeah, the fight is definitely going on.
Yeah, because I thought that especially for this former ambassador, the defector, that this, I mean, he has to be somehow spied or followed by this special
security.
Security, no? Yeah, Azerbaijani must have watched him. Yeah, do you think?
I mean, I don't know that if since the documentary there was some developments regarding his security. He didn't tell me that. I don't know if you read about that. But again, for him, I think it's better to be on the lights. And of course, yeah, he knew that when he decided to talk, but it was like 4 years ago, to talk openly about the corruption in the regime and what he saw, because he's a whistleblower and he saw a thing. He knew that it would be a danger for him. So yeah, he had a security escort for a time. And he's hiding, of course, his location and protecting his family. But I think it's better now that we know that he talked and that hopefully nothing will happen to him.
Yeah, that for example, we in Poland know about his existence and so on. And how do you think? I mean, the Azerbaijan is it similar to other post-Soviet countries, like ruled also by dictators like Turkmenistan or Uzbekistan or even Belarus, yeah, and then or Chechnya? I mean, do you think that they're all similar, or there's something special with Azerbaijan?
No, I think there is a lot of similarities. Definitely, of course, it's not exactly the case. Their history is different, and some are worst. For example, Turkmenistan, I think, may be the worst country in the world after North Korea. It's very, I mean, people have nothing there, and it's everything is in the hand of one man. The president of Turkmenistan, it's certainly the worst. But there is a pattern between those countries. coming from the post-Soviet area, and this is the caviar diplomacy. It's coming from this time, you know, and under the USSR, when people came in those countries, they were offering caviar and you know, great thing to try to bribe them in a way. But it was they did that with Russia, but now they do that with European country, and I think that they do that, of course, in Kazakhstan too, and in Turkmenistan, and so yeah, definitely there is some links, and you can see that the situation sometimes is it's closed for human rights activists in Kazakhstan, in Azerbaijan. You know, they have to fight against the power of money, the power of oil, of petrol, and European country want to do business with those country because there are, for example, uranium in Kazakhstan, gas in Azerbaijan, in Turkmenistan, and so yeah, definitely there is this kind of pattern.
Mm-hmm. But don't you think that Azerbaijan is kind of a special position, because on one hand they have strong ties with Turkey, and on other hands with Russia. So politically, I mean, and Russia and Turkey really don't really like each other, but they somehow manage like oscillating between Russia and Turkey. So I think that this is like something unique.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, there is. I mean, for example, regarding caviar diplomacy, Azerbaijan is really the one who puts it at its best, if we can talk like this. Definitely, because also they are not like Kazakhstan or Turkmenistan, who are on the other side of the Caspian Sea, and they are more on the European side. So the situation has evolved with the war with Armenia. So there was a new game with Russia and Turkey. But when the caviar diplomacy happened a few years ago, Azerbaijan really would like to be part of the European, community.
To be seen as European country.
Exactly, yeah, and to be part of the game, actually, with the football championship, with the Formula One, to be so much more, I think, than other countries like Belarusia or Turkmenistan, or maybe Kazakhstan a bit. But so there is a special position with Azerbaijan, and so that's why they would like to have close ties with European countries, and they try to and they did, as it has been showed by the court in Italy, for example. They did bribe European politicians.
Yeah, and it's also incredible. I mean, when I see it with the football thing and UEFA and FIFA, and which everyone knows that these institutions are so corrupt, and then there is Azerbaijan, so this is like really obvious what's going on in there. But it really, I mean, in the field of football, and it's really incredible for me because I like football and I watch football. So I see like Baku and Azerbaijan has appeared like a few years ago, and now it's like really, and it really works. I mean, this really works, like portraying this city as a kind of maybe it's far, but still it's really, modern, and you can see that
with big hotels and bars and everything. If you want to go there for a weekend, for example, there is also the Formula One, and they want to show that, it's a rich city. But when you just left Baku for the suburbs, I think people will definitely see that it's a totally different stories, and that people are struggling for life.
And what do you think? Is there any future for the democracy in those countries? I mean, because I think it's all those countries also fight with this oligarchy system, with oligarchs that are really connected to everything. I mean, there are no politicians, in fact, maybe just a few who are not really in this net and I think it can be said about all post-Soviet countries except the Baltics, of course, but also with the Ukraine and Georgia, and then countries which are more like don't have these strong ties with Russia and somehow manage to get independent. Do you think it will be like what should happen and what can happen for those countries to develop democracy? Is it a question of time only, or
really it's hard for me to say because I'm not I'm a journalist and filmmaker, but what I can say is that there is definitely a turning point since a few years ago, and that democracy is something that we have to really take care of and really fight for it. Because if of course in those countries, in Belarus, in Ukraine, in Azerbaijan, in Kazakhstan, and definitely the situation is changing, and the multilateralism that we had before is definitely not the same that before, and that there is a lot of fight between countries, and the border are closing, and we are going to, I don't know if we say that in English, but we talk about the illiberal democracy and the tyranny, and definitely it's a good time for dictatorship, I think. Unfortunately. And so this is really a time when we should take care about democracy and support the people who are in those countries and who are fighting for freedom of speech, but also in our own European countries, because with terrorism, with coronavirus, with the immigration also, people are becoming more scared, and they want to retract, if I can say that in English, I don't know, and there is a tendency to, for example, in France, we have a tendency for far right in the coming election, which is very worrying. The situation it's not so good, and it's not a period of time where we can say that the democracy is in good shape.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's really very true. And do you organize also like a special screenings of your film for politicians? Do you organize this kind of this kind of impact of the film?
Yeah, I definitely would like to do that, but it takes a lot of time. So we try to do as much as festival as we can. And we had the idea to screen the film in the Council of Europe, which was the place where the corruption took place, but also in the European Parliament. But for that, we have to work on it, and we definitely it takes time and money to do it. But we will try to do it. I hope we will succeed.
And what has happened with this Italian MP that he was like caught with red-handed with the money?
Yeah, is really the archetype of the corrupt politician in this case. Of course, he has been convicted in Italia, but now he had appealed. So officially, we must say that it's not definitely convicted. So let's see what the justice say in the future. We don't know yet, but there is a lot of elements. What I can say, part of it is in the film that show how the money came from Azerbaijan through offshore world to the bank account of European politician, and Luca Volonte is one of them. So I think he will fight in appeal, and we'll see what the justice will say.
But he's still acting as a politician.
No. It's not anymore. Not anymore. He's still has a foundation. At the beginning, it was a foundation to, for. He's very on the far right, so it was promoting anti-abortion, this kind of thing. So I think he's still involved in this field, in Christian maybe foundation on the far right. But he's not in the politics, and I think it will be hard for him to come back in the politics. But in politics, we never know.
yeah, you never know, because some people come back really from really incredible stories, but I hope that will not be the case.
Yeah.
But also it would be very interesting, I think, to make a film or to investigation about the financing of European far right by Russia and all the dictatorships around there. So I suppose there were some people were trying to do, but I think that's also can be dangerous. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I think maybe there was some. I don't know if there were some films, but some stories, some investigations. But yeah, I was not engaged in this kind of story, so I don't really know. But in France, we have Marine Le Pen, which is the head of the far right, and she definitely has some time with Russia. And during the last presidential election in 2017, it was a Russian bank who lent the money for the campaign. I think it was legal, and I don't know, maybe there was something under, but I really don't know about that.
All right. Are you thinking already about the next film, or are you doing anything at the moment?
I'm working on a new project, but it's still confidential because it's too early to tell. But yeah, I'm still working. I'm working with the same producer for a new story, and maybe in 1.5 years it will be on air.
All right, so we would definitely like to see it, I suppose. Okay, so I think we're running out of time. So it was really a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you very much.
It was really great and I'm really happy that we have your film at our festival and that we had a chance to talk today.
Thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, bye.